on? What's up, everybody? I forgot to put our little intro.
Don't frazzle my It's the Woodworking Morning Show.
Well, if that isn't a classic show start for us, huh? Hey.
Frazzling my...
Welcome to the show, everybody. It is the TWW Live Show. I'm Mark.
I'm Nicole.
We're going to answer some woodworking questions today. We're going to do our best. A little bit frantic, not totally prepared. As you can see, there were no names on that first board where we usually thank people who help support the show.
Get your stuff together, Spag.
Because I'm unprepared. I haven't read through all the questions. It's a whole thing. And unfortunately, that's becoming more normal for us, is not being as prepared as we want to be for this show. Just because, well, I'll tell you, the weekly thing, doing weekly videos is definitely more time consuming. And here's what happens. Friday rolls around and I'm like, did you do the notes? She's like, no, did you do the notes? And then we go and take care of the kids and no one does the notes. And then we have to go get the questions and it's all very last minute and very rushy. We don't like that.
No.
So I think what we're going to do, try it for a while and just see how we like it. Again, keeping in mind it's because we're putting out lots of other content elsewhere. We are probably going to move to a every other week schedule for the live show.
We've been doing this since 2014.
I don't think anybody wants 52 episodes of this a year.
No. There's a few.
That's a lot.
There's a few.
There's a couple of them.
There's a few.
Yeah.
In fact, I know, well, actually, Ray, do you watch the live show? I'm not sure. He's a guild member, but he sent us a lovely gift. Sent you a lovely gift.
Oh, did he?
Ray Gilmore.
Oh, yes, that. You guys, anyone who knows me well knows my love of Seinfeld, and I cannot believe that he did this.
Yeah, it
This
was
might
so
be
nice.
the funnest thing I've ever received from anybody, ever, in my life. Maybe I'm exaggerating.
You are, because I
How
better
great is
not be
this,
in that
though?
list.
I didn't receive you, Nicole.
No, I've given you really nice gifts.
What sort of chauvinistic
Pizza
comment is that?
from New Jersey.
Oh, those things.
Yes. So
Anyway, this is
Thank you,
fantastic.
Ray.
Seinfeld is absolutely in my top 3 television shows.
what's your top one?
I don't know. I just was giving you I'm letting you know it's important to me.
Ah, yes, it's
Okay.
important.
So
Okay.
again, Ray, thank you.
And Ray didn't want me to feel left out, so he was in Colorado Springs at the new Space Force Center. I swear. And he got me some challenge coins from Space Force.
You know, I thought that was a Starfleet coin.
I thought it was.
I was like, Ray loves me. Star Trek and Seinfeld? Yeah.
No, it's from Space Force. So thank you, Ray.
Hang on.
Really cool.
Did I say twice a week?
No,
when
no,
I
no.
said
Every other week.
I'm looking at the chat, and I think I may have said twice a week.
Since we're doing...
It's definitely not what I meant.
Let's just cut. Since we're doing regular content on the Wood Whisperer every single week, we're doing the live show every other week.
Yep.
So we can provide a better show, hopefully with more demos, more guests.
The guests coming in and answering questions, that takes a while to get those people in place. I want to do more fun things. I want to be prepared. You guys ask great questions, and there's a lot of times there's a visual thing I could do, either pulling an image off the internet or a product or something in the shop. And if I keep rushing like this just to get on, I just did a story a few minutes ago saying we got 10 minutes to go and my bench top was just covered in dust, dirt everywhere, and I had to get ready for the show. So I don't want to do that to you guys. I want you guys to get as much quality out of this, and I know some will be disappointed. I understand that because it's a weekly thing, but sometimes you just have to make these changes to make sure the quality of the product doesn't continue to go downhill.
Unless you just want us to quit completely, like Wood Talk.
Wood Talk's a great example, though. Wood Talk, we quit because we could not sustain the schedule.
Yeah.
Then we came back with the help of Rockler, but it was really the schedule that we came up with that made it sustainable for the three of us to do a show. And now it's twice a month, and it's going. We're well into our second year at this point.
Everybody's talking about the clock. I saw the clock and I was like, can I fix the clock? And he said, no, don't fix the clock.
Here's a little tip I want to teach you guys. If you're a content creator, always put something in the video that makes people ask questions. Like, if you have a clock, take the batteries out. People will not stop telling you that you need to put batteries in there.
The clock is wrong.
I did that because I'm just trying to game the system. I'm a YouTuber now.
Oh, no, stop it.
And I just want as many comments as possible. It doesn't matter what it's about. And I knew people would comment on the crooked clock.
Speaking of...
The truth is, John bumped into it while we were sanding on Thursday, and I haven't fixed it because I wasn't inclined to fix it.
Oh, look at
there
that.
You go. You just ruined our views, Nicole.
That's all right.
I'm going to make it even more crooked.
No!
Okay.
Drive me nuts.
Oh, boy. All right, let's get to our business.
Yeah.
So what do we got? So new video came out today, tricking out a desk. So my mom had a desk. We needed to improve it, so I did a few things to do that. And fun little video. Go to, well, you're on the channel now.
Is she happy that you're finished with it? Marc.
See, here's the thing about my mom. You finish one thing,
3 more
and she just moves the goalpost, and she wants to know when this other thing's going to be done. So yeah, sure, she's happy, but it just knocked another thing off the to-do list.
I wonder if she's watching right now. Probably not.
Maybe.
Joe Ferrone said in the chat that I think he was talking about the Seinfeld set. He was going to get that for you.
Oh, no kidding. Tim says he's quoting me as calling myself a YouTuber, and I hope the sarcasm didn't get all over you guys because it was dripping off of me.
The video, if you haven't had a chance to watch the desk video, apparently there's lots of sarcasm in that one.
It was, in fact, sarcasm made it as a sponsor of the show. one of the sponsors. Okay, what else? You got a Powermatic thing to announce here?
No, I have a Wood Whisperer thing to announce. I said last week that I was going to, because last week was still July, August 1st, we rolled out a new giveaway on the Wood Whisperer. So if you go to thewoodwhisperer.com/giveaway, you can own something that this guy built.
It's not that great.
It's the Powermatic 100th anniversary C table. So how long ago was it?
It was fall of last year.
Fall of last year. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Only U.S. Sorry, everybody else. Nothing personal. Powermatic's going to ship it out. So one lucky winner will own something that Marc made.
Pretty awesome.
Not many people own actual pieces of furniture.
Certainly not people outside of our family.
Yeah.
Gazang says, playing casino games and downloading viruses. This was one of, like, I don't often see people quote me in the comments of a video. This one is very quotable. Apparently, there's a lot of quotations going on. I said some really stupid things. Okay.
You want to
get into some questions?
Before we go, Ben's Wood Crafts wants to know what's the next project for Mom.
Ben?
Ben.
I almost banned Mike McDonald. Where is he? There's Ben. That's the thing. What is the next project for Mom? We have a TV installed in that new wall that we put up, and there needs to be like a little table stand thing that goes under the TV. I don't know, something like that. We'll see. She'll come up with a couple other things for me to do. Well, look at this. A Robert Price super chat to get the day started. The evening started.
I hear you.
Thanks, Robert. I hear you, man. Moms, what are you going to do? They always have more work. Well, and the thing is, like, what were you supposed to say? Am I nudging you?
You're man-spreading me.
Nicole, there's a power adapter and a Rubo leg in my crotch. If I don't man-spread, there won't be much man left.
Yeah, I know.
No kidding, Robert. What are you going to do?
Thanks, Robert.
What should you have to say here? So now you're going live every other week. Does that mean we have to compress our expectations of you? I think if you guys haven't compressed your expectations of me yet, it's past due, frankly. Although today may be just a magical show. I'm going to tell you why.
It's hot.
It's hot also, and we both look better wet. But also, I hurt my back again. And I have a painkiller in my system.
Is that what that is?
That should start hitting me pretty soon. So it's going to get good.
He's working out.
I've been working out a lot, but I'm also trying to learn. I'm not doing it with any like professional guidance. And for someone like me who has
maybe you should pay for that.
What I need is someone who knows which exercises will trigger a lower back issue.
Maybe you need a professional.
Because it wasn't like I actually did something like, oh, look at me, I'm trying to be big.
Hey.
I did it while doing ab exercises. I just did the wrong kind, which my back was like,
hey,
bad
if you're
idea.
in the Denver area and you're a
Are you going to use the Wood Whisperer to try to wrangle.
I'm willing to pay somebody to teach you not to injure yourself.
I don't know if I need a physical therapist or a personal trainer.
I think you need a personal trainer.
Maybe just a babysitter. All right, let's get to our questions.
Okay.
Seth Downs. He says, I bought a new Powermatic jointer this weekend, celebrating the anniversary with them, and the lube on the cast iron is also on the helical heads. Hate when they get messy with the lube, you know what I mean? Is that meant to be cleaned with a solvent like the beds, or is it meant to just be worn away on the first few cuts? You know, you could do either. The thing is, if you don't wipe off the extra schmutz, it's going to fly off of there, right? So as soon as you turn it on, the first few passes will get it off the blades. It'll kind of clean itself, but you still have a lot of goop that might go flying. So I would probably recommend just getting a solvent, mineral spirits or kerosene or whatever crap you have that'll help dissolve it. Get a rag full of that and just do a light wipe. Don't go nuts with it. Just spin it around manually, make sure it's unplugged, get all the stuff that you can see, try to clean it as well as you can. It's still going to spit some goo at you as you run the first couple of boards across there, but just do some scrap boards, and after the first couple of passes, post-cleaning, it's probably going to be just fine. I wouldn't go too nuts with it, though.
Ooh, I forgot, and you didn't remind me. Charles Thompson in the chat room had emailed me. I'll do this for you guys too. So if you are entering the giveaway, there's an extra entry. There's a secret code.
Oh my God.
For an extra entry. I'm going to tell you the code. PM100 100 table, and I'll get you extra entry. So there you go. One extra. That could be the one that you win.
Yeah, Tom has a good question. He says, speaking of YouTubers, you commented about not liking to ask for subs and notifications. Why not just put a graphic in the video and skip the vocal asking altogether? Well, go watch some of our recent videos. That's exactly what we've been doing. It may not be as effective. I don't really know, but our editor, Todd, does a great job of inserting some very mild and not annoying reminders to subscribe if you are not subscribed, or click like, or whatever those things are. Tim just volunteered to make you a pie safe, Nicole. So good
thanks,
news.
Tim.
Tim's the man.
So nice.
Okay, Philip Schaefer says, so I was able to convince my wife that I need a track saw for my birthday, so I don't have to rely on my local Home Depot to cut down sheet stock for me. I ordered a Makita 2 by 55-inch guide rails, and I'm planning on building a shop cabinet with drawers at a 3/4-inch ply as my first project. I need to cut panels that are about 28 by 15 for the sides of the cabinet. It's a little bit too big for my portable table saw. Any tips on squaring and making parallel cuts with the track saw? I really hate to recommend more stuff because I don't think you have another birthday coming anytime soon, maybe next year. There are things you can buy for track saws that will assist them in doing exactly what you're talking about. One is a track square. So there's a couple different brands out there. The one I have is the Woodpeckers brand. I really like it a lot. That will help you keep if you have a nice straight edge, you put your track down on that edge, it gives you a nice square cut. So there's one square corner and you can kind of rotate your way around, continuing making square cuts as you go. As for a parallel cut, there are parallel guides. Now, I don't know what the capacity of those guides are. I've had them in the past, but having a full-size table saw, it just never came up. I never really needed it. So it's basically like a set of bars that will set you a specific distance away from an edge, kind of like an edge guide on a router in a way, and that should allow you to make a parallel cut. So again, hate to recommend you buying more stuff, but look at those jigs. There also may be things that look, if there's any jig on the market made out of metal, you could probably find someone on YouTube who made one out of wood or plywood, and maybe there's something you could do to cobble a less expensive version that will get the job done.
I got a question here from, I lost it. John wants to know an update on mentoring on Discord. No update because I've been working on all of the scholarships.
Yeah.
If you remember, I had an application where I allowed people to apply to get a guild scholarship, and I have 100+ applications that I'm trying to go through right now. So haven't had time to even look at organizing the mentorship on Discord, but it's on my to-do list.
Yeah. Okay.
You okay?
Sure. Dustin says, are there any plans to do a guild build on interior solid wood doors or make a nice window shutter for DIY home improvement projects? Not really anyone else out there that does the level of detail of content like you do. Besides, what good is it to have a professional grade workshop if you can't add value to your own home with your tools? Well, I couldn't agree more, Dustin. So, blinds. Well, good news. I'm actually working on shutters right now. In fact, I have some of the parts right here. This is not a set of stairs. This is actually the top rail of a curved eyebrow window. And I'll be doing that on the main site. That won't be a guild project, so it won't be insanely detailed. But when it comes to shutters, it's really all in the measurements and the plans. It's not so hard. None of the techniques are that difficult. So look forward to that video coming soon. Maybe we'll do something more in depth in the future. We've got a couple more windows that I wouldn't mind, like the ones in the living room that always get in the way when, usually when Mateo's playing games during the day. The reflection in the TV.
Trying to watch something in there in the morning is hard.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do something like that. But as far as interior door goes, interior doors are a little bit tricky. I mean, a lot of I can tell you for our interior doors, they are all made of like a laminated product. So while it looks like it's all solid wood, it's not just solid wood. Did you get that thing from Ava?
What?
Request for time.
Oh, I didn't see that. No. And
It's not
she
just
has my phone.
yeah, I'll get it. It's not just straight up solid wood. It's actually some sort of a lamination material. I forget, there's a name for it. Is it LVL?
I don't know.
I think it's LVL or something like that, where it's basically a bunch of little laminations cut like this and then skinned over with whatever veneer you want. In my case, it's alder. So there might be a solid alder panel in the middle, but all of the flat areas are actually a combination of this core material that's more stable than solid wood or non-laminated solid wood, and then it has the veneer on top of it. So yeah, you could make a solid door, but I also get a little bit nervous about making a true solid wood door on that scale. You guys know what happens to solid wood, right? It tends to move, especially with seasons. So I wonder, for people, maybe people who have experience in making doors for interior doors like this for houses, does anyone actually make them from just true solid wood throughout? Shannon would probably know something like that, because it definitely seems like a much better idea to use this combination of materials with that laminated core instead of using true solid wood throughout, just in terms of stability.
Got a super chat here from Jeff Early. He must be early.
He's not late, I can tell
Hopefully.
you that much.
Just because I made it live this week. Also, a 2-hour show every 2 weeks.
Well, hey. If you count the after show.
That's true.
It's pretty much a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Okay, next question I got from our buddy Karen G. I'm going to be flattening some wide pieces with a router sled. Do I have to slide the router across the grain, or can I go long ways with the grain? All of the online demos that I've seen show people going across the grain, and I'm wondering if there's a reason for that. Well, I guess if you're going across the grain, maybe you have less of a chance of a severe tear out. You just are kind of cutting across each time. I don't think it really matters most of the time, and I think you're going to have to look at the wood. So if you take a nice long pass down the length and you come back in the other direction and keep going back and forth like that, I think you just look at what the wood is doing, and if it's behaving and you're getting nice, clean, smooth cuts, go whatever direction makes sense to you and feels good. If you make that straightaway cut and you start to see more tear out happening, then maybe you want to go side to side. Maybe you'll get better results that way. Jeff Barry. Thanks for the advice last week about my chessboard project. I think I'll go with veneer. I just have to decide on which woods to use. When doing veneers in small squares, are there any complications to look out for and be prepared for? Also, would hide glue work best for veneer or another adhesive? Yeah, so working with veneer, anytime, you do have to be concerned about it. The veneer is very fragile, so if you are making a bunch of cuts, in this case, you'd probably make like a wider piece that's veneered on both faces, and then you would slice that piece up, almost treating it like solid wood. So you make your slices, then you maybe glue it together, slice it again the other way, flip your pieces, and glue them back together again. So you just have to make sure you're using a good sharp blade with lots of teeth, right? So like an 80-tooth blade would not be out of the question to give you good results on cutting the veneer, and especially once you start doing cross cuts on the veneer, that's when things can get a little bit dicey. As far as adhesive, I mean, a lot of people for smaller veneered projects will use whatever glue they have. It's fine. Philip Morley uses Type-On, just regular Type-On glue on some of his veneered panels. I know David Marks had used that as well at times. The best veneering glues are the ones that are just kind of a little bit of a hazard to use. They contain formaldehyde, so things like Unibond 800, Urac 185, Plastiwood, it's a weldwood product, just a powder that you mix with water. Those work great. but you got to want to deal with those chemicals. If you don't, then look into something like Unibond 1. I've used that recently on some bent laminations and some veneering. It works out great. It's like a PVA glue. It's water-based. It's not any more dangerous than the regular glues that we use all the time. I think that's a good choice as well. Hide glue actually is a classic glue for doing this. You're talking probably looking into hammer veneering, if you've ever heard of that. That's something that you traditionally would use hide glue with, so maybe take a look at that and see if that's what you're into.
Since you're talking about veneer, Dwayne Widget asked, can you lay new veneer on top of old veneer?
If the old veneer is stable, the new veneer is just wood, right? It's just a very thin layer of wood. So if it's stable and you think you can get the appropriate clamping pressure to apply that veneer, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not ideal to like build layers of veneer on top of other layers of veneer, because each one may have its own set of failure points. I don't know, but yeah, I don't see anything theoretically if everything is stable. I don't see why you couldn't do that.
And Chaotic Tinkering wants to know if you have a suggestion for a high gloss black finish for a tabletop, and no, it's not by choice.
I think anytime, and there are people who work with solid colors that would have probably better product recommendations than I'm going to give you. I don't do stuff like that very often. So in the past, when I used to work with Cody, this is back in Arizona when I worked in a finishing shop, one of the things he would do is he had a really nice wide selection of coloring agents and things like pigments. Mm-hmm. So we would use our standard lacquer finish and we would dump pigment into it. So if you wanted a piano white finish, a piano black finish, we would put a bunch of pigment into the lacquer and start building up coats of that color. And then as you get towards your top coats, you have all the solid color you want. Then you start laying clear coats of lacquer on top of that, and it all kind of burns in together. But the color then gets separated a few layers from that top coat so that you can then finish the finish and actually abrade it to a really high gloss. And that was a really effective way for solid colors without going into the world of true paint.
Gotcha.
Right? So that's what I've done. That's what I would recommend. But there's probably other ways to do it, and better ways. Okay. Bill says, what kind of finish would you use on a red oak handrail? It's going to be my stairwell and will be seeing a lot of use. Thinking for the future for ease of possible repairs or refinishing. Appreciate the advice. Also, just wanted to say hi to Nicole.
Aw, hi. Hi, Bill.
I think with a handrail, I would say all of our handrails are finished with some sort of film. I don't know if it's a poly, if it's a veneer, if it's a lacquer. It's definitely a film finish. And they're holding up pretty great. I mean, if you have a repair, it shouldn't be that hard to do. If they're stained, that becomes a little bit harder. But I think anytime you have a high wear surface, you have to look at the big question is film or no film. Films being a little more difficult to repair, a hard wax oil being easier to repair. Films provide more protection, hard wax oils provide less protection. So it's a good thing they're easy to repair. Do you want a matte finish or do you want a high shine? The film finishes are going to be the high shines. The matte finishes you can easily do with a hard wax oil. So is a big it depends. I think in our case, I would have to try to match the look of the rest of the woodwork in the house. And if everything else has a sheen, I'm not going to use a hard wax oil. I'm going to go with a sort of film forming finish, either a poly, a good quality wiping varnish would be good, or depending on the situation, maybe a lacquer.
Got a couple super chats. Got one from Judy. Judy did a nice super chat.
Ah, Judy.
If you just keep scrolling, you'll see it.
Okay, I'm going.
Because it highlights it.
Scrolling. Just because. Thanks for the show, Spags.
Oh, thanks, Judy.
Well, thanks, Judy.
Really nice. And then Scott Morris did a super chat.
Let's not do that. Let's not cross the line. There's a line.
I'm crossing it.
There's a line. Scott Morris says,
I get to get a cup of coffee.
A nice cup of coffee for Nicole to help you with the scholarship review.
It's been a while since we kind of fell off the Duncan train.
Yeah, not convenient.
Yeah.
Not convenient anymore. All right.
Let's see. We also got a question here from John M.
Yep.
When will the new stickers be available in the store?
Good question.
I've sent a few of those out. In fact, I sent a couple of them out just this week. So I put on, I don't know if you saw that, on October 10th is the Wood Whisperers 15th year anniversary. And I have some cool 15-year throwback stickers that I made up. I think what I'm going to do, I don't necessarily want to sell them. I think I'm just going to offer them as if you buy something in the TWW store.
You buy anything physical,
Yeah,
you get a sticker.
we actually have some stickers in there. So if you buy stickers, you'll get the sticker. So,
Ironically.
Yeah. So that's what I think I'm going to do with them. I wasn't planning on doing that until October, but maybe I should do it sooner.
Yeah, just do it.
All right, I'll do
The
it.
people want it.
All right, all right.
Give them
all right.
what they want.
All right, so starting as of today, I'm going to start putting those stickers in anything anyone buys over at TWW Store.
Cool.
They're like this.
They're cute.
They're cute. I should have brought them with
Nice
me.
throwback design. Mike Andrews says, I'm so new to woodworking that I haven't even started yet. You had some great info about essential tools, CA glue, what you wish you knew before, but I'm still not ready to commit to a project. Are there any other tips that you have for someone that is about to jump into their first project? Yeah, I'll give you some tips. Stay off YouTube.
It's going to get confusing, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, if you have enough information that you can safely begin a basic project, I would recommend go ahead and get yourself a little plan. There's tons of free plans out there. Try to get one from a good reputable source if possible. If they're offering you 16,000 of them, that is not one of the reputable ones.
No.
Try to get a decent plan and see what you could do to follow it. Hopefully you have all the right tools. If you confront a snag, then consult the internet to try to solve a problem. But I would urge you to not get in that trap of the research analysis paralysis type thing, because there's so much information out there. You can get to the point where you get gun shy, that you don't even want to start the project. What you need is sawdust under your nails. Start making some stuff. Make some mistakes. Make scrap wood. Whatever it takes. Get that experience, because you don't want to build up this first project as such a big thing. It's just a practice project.
Yeah.
Think of it as a practice project.
Yeah.
And just get going.
My very first quilt that I made, I just kind of was like, I'm just going to throw it together and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing. So I'm just cutting stuff up and sewing it together.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I did put a link in the chat room. It's not all of the free projects from the Wood Whisperer over the last 15 years, but it's a lot of them.
And we've got a lot of decent beginner-friendly projects, right?
We do. So if you go to thewoodwhisperer.com/free-plans, you'll see a page, and I tried to bring them all into one place for you.
Cool. Eric Cole says, I'd like to build some glass doors for my upper shop cabinets. What's the best method you have found for retaining glass in a door or other panels that might need to be removed in the future? Well, clips. There's like little staples that you can get. There are little clips that you can screw in. In the past, I've made shop-made clips. So if the glass is sitting into a rabbet, and then all you really need to do is cut some thin strips of material, kind of make yourself a little mitered border on the inside. It can look quite nice. As long as they are wide enough that you have material going into the solid wood in the frame around the glass, you could just drive a couple of little flathead screws in there, just countersink them, and it's going to look great. And then if you have any glass breakage, you just take them off. Not that big of a deal, but you can also buy clips. My desk in the office, my executive desk, I had to retain glass, and I just made my own little glass retainers. And it's nice because you open up the door. It's one of those custom woodworking things. You open up the door, and there's this little mini mitered frame. Medicine's hitting me now. This mini mitered frame, you guys all look like little ants to me, all the way up here. So you got this beautiful mitered frame on the inside of the door, right? It's just a fun little touch. I like it a lot.
Joe O'Brien did a super chat, a nice super chat. What is that? What's that currency? Is that?
That's a C with a line in the middle.
There's a couple lines in the middle.
I believe that is technically what that's called.
But he said for weekly entertainment. So thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you,
very
Joe.
Nice. What?
I like that.
Just happened? Ben Price, what are you doing?
What?
That's very kind
Ben,
of you.
it's not even my birthday. This must be for the personal trainer. Money for a guild project for the guy that said he's just starting. Oh, Ben, you
That's really
are
kind
speaking
of
our
you.
language,
Who
my
was the
friend.
guy? Who is it? That is it a?
Oh, I got him right here. I got him right here. It's Eric. Nope.
Nope.
It's Mike Andrews Jr.
All right, Mike. I'll reach out to you because Ben was your sponsor.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For the guild.
You know, it's always nice to make a love connection on this show.
That's what I mean.
Connecting woodworkers to other woodworkers in a platonic fashion.
That's what I like about the mentorship program, when I was able to actually do the matchmaking on Facebook, and then they took that feature away, and I was like,
Yeah.
So that's my hope to do that again. It's €1. It's €1.
Yep. Well, sweet bearded Jeff says, which is his new nickname by the way, it's British pound sterling.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Or everyone's saying euros. Anyways, pick a project, man. Whatever you want. We'll hook you up.
I'll message them and take care of them.
But if you need help picking one that's a little bit more beginner friendly, we can help you with that. Shaker table is always a good recommendation for a beginner one. Plus, you get to see Nicole and I dressed in stupid clothes, pretending we're shakers.
Oh yes, I forgot about the shaker skit.
It's a classic. All right.
And then you got another super chat. How do you I'm sorry, I'm gonna Padrake Mulligan. First time watching live. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Well, thank you. That's super nice of you. I'm gonna get to Black Goat Woodworking.
I love that you always do that every single time.
It's nothing if not predictable. It's like every time Nicole hands me a jar to open.
Oh my God.
Since the day we started dating, if there's a jar she needs open,
pickle jar.
Here's the move, guys. It works every time. You go and you hide it. You kind of put it in your stomach so that you don't hear the pop, and you open it and you go, and then you struggle. No, you don't hear it.
I always hear it.
And then, no, you never hear it. And then you go, God, I can't get it. And you give it back to them, and they go, whoop, and the lid comes right off because it's already loosened.
Right. You're weird.
It makes her laugh, though. Black Goat Woodworking says, I see you use your Incra 5000 on the left side of the blade, even though you have a left tilt saw. I assume that means you never cut a bevel with the sled. I set mine up on the right side because it's a left tilt saw, and I find it very annoying because of the Incra fence and the table saw fence competing for space, even though that's what the manual says to do. Can you shed any light on your reasoning? I think Incra does a great disservice to its customers by encouraging you to put it on the right. We have had this discussion in the guild group on Facebook time and time again, where people just go by the default, and why wouldn't you? You would think for a left tilt saw, put it on the right side. That's the recommended way to do it. Here's the problem. Kind of depends on the kind of work you do. If you're doing a lot of bevels with a crosscut sled, then do what they say. Put it on the right side, your bevels go this way, your sled's over here. So no matter what you do with your blade, you're not cutting into your sled, you're safe. But what do you do when you need to cut a dado with the dado stack and your sled? Well, now your dado on a left tilt saw, where does it go? It stacks this way. So the thicker your dado gets, the more you keep cutting into that sled. And essentially, you can't use your sled with the dado stack. So the reason I made my choice to put it on the left-hand side is because I do more dado cuts with a crosscut sled than I do bevel cuts with a crosscut sled. So yes, I never bevel with that particular sled, but you know what I do time and time again? I use my dado stack, and it doesn't matter how wide my dado gets. It could be full size, it could be a 1/4 inch, it could be an 1/8 inch. I never interfere with my with the crosscut sled when I do that. And yes, sometimes you won't be able to use the outfeed side, the little add-on piece. You sometimes have to maybe flip it around to put a little bit of a gap there, but it's fine. So I honestly think they should change their manual so that it encourages people to put it on the left side, or at least arm them with the decision-making power so that they don't cut into their fence and commit to the wrong side. Off my soapbox.
Our friend Mike Zellman's in the chat room, and he says, do you have a video showing how to do offset dowels in a mortise and tenon joint for pulling it tight?
Yeah, drawbore, mortise, and tenon joint. We do have a video on that, Mike, on the main site.
What is it called?
It was, I took an excerpt or took some footage while I was building the Rubo. So yeah, drawbore, not board, B-O-A-R-D. So O-R-E. There you go. Drawbore.
O-R-E.
The search is just not that smart.
There you go, drawbore.
So drawbore.
This one.
So it's episode 168, drawboard, mortise, and tenon.
When we actually numbered our episodes.
Back in the day.
I keep hearing kids, and I'm thinking, is that our kids?
Neighborhood Rugrats.
Yeah.
Paul Engel says that I've broken down my sheet goods for the MFT mobile cart. I was thinking about the rabbets at the ends of the top and bottom. I've got a 36-inch saw stop, and I feel like the sheets would be easier to manage if if I cut the rabbet on the right side of the table, and that gives me full support for the board with nothing hanging over the edge. So essentially what he's saying, big piece of plywood needs a rabbet on the end. If you use your fence to sort of guide the rabbet and have your work to the left of the blade, you got a lot of meat hanging off the table. So he's suggesting to put it on the right-hand side. The only disadvantage I could think of is that I won't be able to use my Jessam hold-down rollers, but with the extra support, they don't seem as important. I'll still be using a sacrificial board on the fence face. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're going to move your fence to the left side of the blade and completely go to the right. Yes, no problem with that whatsoever. The only thing I would urge you to do is rehearse the motion. Put the blade down and run that piece through a few times. You'd be surprised at how good muscle memory works. And if you are used to always having your fence on the right, you are constantly, without even realizing it sometimes, pushing forward, but also pushing into the fence. So now if you suddenly just one operation have to be on the other side, you'd be amazed at how quickly you're going to push forward and veer off to the right, because that's what you always do. So just go through a couple of practice runs. I can't really see any reason why you would not do that.
Got a super chat from Jim Ashley.
Super duper chat. Oh, Jim.
He's saying thank you to who asked.
Thanks to whoever asked the Incra 5000 left tilt saw question, and the answer, Mark. I just got an upgraded Incra with my 5000 sitting on the bench, ready to assemble. Yeah, it's like one of those things I'd like to make a video. Be like, WTF Incra 5000 review.
Didn't you do a guild video on that though?
Well, yeah, but that's not out in the public. It's
true.
something that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Jim, if you look in the guild meetings area, I actually did a little thing about that particular sled. Maybe watch that just as a heads up. There might be other things that we covered in there you might find useful. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, I only got two more here.
All right.
Ben Price said, I thought I saw on Instagram you doing a table saw sled review. Crap, I wanted to talk to you about this before I talked about this publicly. A table saw sled review video. Should I bite the bullet and get the Incra 5000 or the Rockler brand sled? If the video is coming out soon, it's fine to pass on this question. Okay, here's the thing. There are times when I get a product in to review. This is kind of why I got away from reviewing. Reviewing is fraught, especially in a business where people tend to meet each other in person. Sure. And people tend to, you get to meet these people face to face. It can be very difficult to provide fair, honest reviews without hurting feelings. And you can just say it's all business and the right thing to do is always tell the truth 100% of the time, but that's a great way to lose some friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it's a very careful thing because I am never not truthful about product reviews. So there are times where something comes across my plate and I go, I think this is awful. This is terrible. And I'm afraid to talk about it because it's not, and especially if it's not something, if it was a popular thing that everybody is raving about, I might be the guy to go like the Festool Cyclone thing, where it was new, everybody's talking about it. I'm like, it sucks, and I made a video about it. But on certain things, I'm just like, oh, I just don't feel good because you could really damage a company.
I remember when you did a long time ago a review. It wasn't necessarily a review, but Festool was the only one in the game doing that track saw thing.
Yeah.
And then DeWalt came out with them. And the fact that you just did that, we lost them as a sponsor because of that.
And it wasn't even because I said anything overtly bad.
No.
I just wasn't enough of a cheerleader on the good side of things. And it happens. It's fine. And here's the thing, that is a reflection of who was running the show at the time and not who's there now.
Right.
I'm sure they're great people. So when it comes to this sled thing, I'm not going to do the video. And the reason is because one of those was horrible. And if you want to email me, I will absolutely tell you the full story and tell you who it was. I just don't feel comfortable blasting in this format without you guys having all the information. That said, you asked about Rockler and Incra. Those are not the two that I had a problem with. Oh. The Rockler is sitting right over there. Mm-hmm. I actually think the Rockler is an incredible bang for the buck in terms of what you get. And one of the things that I love about the Rockler that absolutely crushes the Incra, as much as I love my Incra, is the guide bar. So one of the things I've seen with some of these miter bars underneath, instead of having, like the Incra does, those little nylon washers and this horrible screw that is so tiny, you use a little Allen wrench on it and you have to tighten it so much that you actually twist and deform your Allen wrench. It's an awful system. I hate it, but once it's set up, it's great. But I don't like making adjustments and having to fix it. The Rockler has those little spring-loaded balls in there. Have you guys seen those? They're little balls, like this.
Okay.
Little balls, Nicole.
Come on.
And
Your timer's going to go off very soon.
They're spring-loaded, so what you do is you provide a little bit of tension, and you just increase the tension as you go, and the balls kind of all find their home, and it's a great system for something that has to ride through that track. I mean, the balls are so smooth. Very smooth balls.
Okay.
Balls. Anyway, I actually think, is the Rockler as good as the Incra? No. But look at the price difference. So if I didn't already have the Incra, I'd look at that Rockler and be like, I kind of like this. I mean, Rockler's branded stuff that they make, pretty darn good. Full disclosure, Rockler is a sponsor of Wood Talk. So I have to tell you that just to make sure you know. But I'm not going to review this product. I'm probably going to give that one away.
Nick Gill says, "Good day from Melbourne."
Hold on, who asked that question?
I don't know. It was Ben Price.
Ben Price?
Who just did the super chat.
Hey Ben, I'll tell you what, man. You send us an email. If you pay for shipping, I'll give you that sled.
There you go.
Just help us with the shipping. I'll box that sucker up, and it's yours.
Said, any advice on buying power tools? Hey, people are going to want you hurt your back a lot after this.
I get generous when I'm high on painkillers. Hey Mark, here's a good exercise for you.
Any buying advice on buying power tools from overseas? There seems to be a real shortage here in Oz. It's not just Oz.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. There's shortages here. People are waiting months and months and months.
So is he asking because he wants to buy tools outside of Australia to get them in?
Yeah.
Buying equipment overseas is a big deal.
So my friend Kim lived in Australia for a little bit, and we did a video game podcast, and she was telling me how much more expensive video games were because of all of the fees that get tacked on to physical games that come in to Australia.
I've heard that about specifically Jet's clamps.
Yeah.
I think the parallel clamps are ridiculously expensive there.
So I would worry that you're not only going to pay more, but way more because of the fees.
Not only is every animal trying to kill you in Australia, the prices are too. I saw a little meme with this cute, I don't even know what it was. And it's like, it's not that it doesn't want to kill you, it just can't.
It just can't.
Oh man.
John Riggs says, having some walnut logs sawn this week. Would you air dry or kiln dry? I'm 67, may not want to wait for an air dry.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm sure
you know what you do? You go out there, you do a little lifting, you get a little extension on that time period.
Yeah.
If you have access to some sort of kiln drying process, why not go with that? It's going to make it faster. Obviously, air dried lumber is fantastic. My buddy Cremona lives and dies by the stuff. He loves it.
How long does it take to air dry?
It depends. There's a classic rule of an inch per a year per inch of thickness or something like that. But Matt says that's BS.
Oh, really?
And Shannon agrees. Oh. Not that it's BS, but you can't. There's no one size fits all plan.
Well, it also depends
lumber.
on where you live, right?
The conditions it's stored in, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure both Matt and Shannon have content on drying that might help you out. But yeah, I agree with you. Why bother air drying if you have access to something that's more akin to a kiln? I had a question here from someone. Hold on, where'd it go?
Is it that one?
Yeah, I think Fatima. It's got to be Fatima. I refuse to believe it's anything else. I have a high barrier on spending on materials and plans. Have you ever spent yourself on plans? Why am I having trouble reading this? Have you ever spent yourself on plans and how to overcome anxiety on spending materials? Okay.
Yes.
That is a bit of a challenge. Do you remember when I first purchased my first real hardwood from a hardwood dealer? It was the inspiration for the video that included you as the checkout girl because I was so intimidated by it. But I remember I bought birch, and it was not figured, it was just very blotchy. But let's call it figured.
Yeah.
It was very expensive to me at the time. You know, we didn't have a whole lot of money, and here I am buying this really expensive board just to make my first end table or a nightstand. And I was scared to death. I did not want to waste this material. The only thing I could say is reps. It's something where you just have to get started, double check your setups, go get some inexpensive wood. Here's another thing that you can do. If you practice your cut, so if you have a joinery setup that you don't want to mess up, well, don't do it on your good stuff. Get a 2x4, get a piece of wood. Use that to prove to yourself that the cut works, that your hands are in the right place, everything feels right. Prove it first, and then do the cut on your good stuff. I don't necessarily do it for fear of doing it wrong. It's just habit at this point. I'm not worried about wasting the material. I just don't want to be wasteful in general, right? So I will always do practice cuts and practice setups. So I think that's a good way to build your confidence while you're building the project. But in general, to get to a point where you don't have to worry so much because you're confident in your abilities, it's just reps. You just got to do more.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Kim Erickson's in the chat and did a super chat. Thanks. You got to keep going down. There it is.
Kim Erickson.
Oh, look at the puppy.
It's a puppy. He's cute. Thanks for all the advice recently, and a good day, everyone in Melbourne and NSW.
What's NSW?
It's north-southwest.
Okay.
No one knows where it is. I'm on fire
I wish
today.
I had better. Hopefully, maybe somebody in the chat room, Kim, might even have better advice for you on the tool purchasing from overseas. I wonder if there's different, like, what are they called, customs? Like, the customs fee from, say, the UK may be different than the US. And
International stuff, it's above my pay grade. I don't know.
Sorry. D. Grams says, any thoughts on the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer project this year?
We talked about it last week, didn't we?
We talked about it. We looked through some plans on Rockler, found a few things. I actually found something on Amazon. It's like a Lazy Susan. So it's like this big, and then it has wooden things for like crayons, and so it's like for a kid.
Yeah.
You put it in.
It's New South Wales.
Okay.
Not north-southwest, as I thought. Who knew? I like mine better.
So that we haven't formally picked a project, but we're
working on it.
We're working on it, and we're narrowing it down. I like the idea of also a portable puzzle thingy thing.
What you talking about, Willis?
So like my cool Haunted Mansion puzzles.
Yeah.
I would love to have like a flat thing that I could put a cover on it.
We have one of those. It's called a table.
I know, but I want to move it around.
We can move the table. I can't right now, but in the future we'll move the table.
No, I want to be able to take it into the living room or like.
No, I get you. Like a little portable work surface.
A portable puzzle
/ Lego platform.
Yeah, sure.
I gotta do something with this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not gonna build itself.
Yeah.
Are we done?
I like that idea. A portable puzzle.
Yeah.
I feel like I need another P in that.
I want to answer one last question, and then we're out of here.
Okay. Yep, we're gonna head on over to the after show. While he's talking, I'm gonna put the link to the Patreon, where you can find that link to the video. Or if you're on YouTube, go to the community tab on our page.
Oh, my man Girdles making me sweat.
You have it on?
Yeah, I do. How do you think I'm sitting here for so long? I totally missed the question after I put it up.
Oh.
Okay.
Was it Ed?
I guess it's Ed. How do you design projects so that it's structurally sound? I always find myself worrying about whether the wood will be strong enough or not. Well, here's one very generic, possibly unsatisfying sort of answer. Look at what other people do. And I don't just mean anybody. I mean, look at official plans. Look at good quality pieces of furniture. A lot of this stuff has been figured out. In most cases, what we build in wood is over-engineered. It will take more, like we look at joints and go, oh, well, this one is only 500 pounds and this one's 300. And it's like, okay, so let's put 10 of them in a project And is that enough to support a 155-pound human being? Yes, of course it is. So a lot of times we over-engineer. But if you look around and you look at traditional furniture, the way it's made, the type of joints that are in it, chances are, as long as you don't veer too far off from those standards, you're going to be fine. The only time you get into weird stuff is if you go off on a weird, crazy design and now you have to figure out a solution to a problem. Then you have to go, well, is this going to be strong enough? I'm not really sure. So if you're just starting out making your own stuff, chances are you're not doing crazy exotic designs. Everything you're designing has been done before. So look at some of the things that have been done before. Use that as a starting point until you start to get a better feel for what is strong enough to get a certain thing done.
Aaron Tidwell helped me out with the name, the Portable Puzzle Platform.
Triple P. I'm with you.
P3.
P3. Okay. Well, my friends, it has been a great evening. We appreciate you hanging out with us. I won't remember any of this tomorrow.
Hey, we recorded it.
Not that bad. Yeah, I'm going to go watch this again tomorrow to refresh my memory on what an idiot I was.
Yeah.
We're also doing an after show here that Nicole already mentioned. Yep. So those of you who are with us for the after show, hang out. And did we talk about the notification crew? There was a note in there.
Oh, yeah. I said, I put it in there to remind you.
But we didn't say it.
No.
So we may have mentioned it last week. Every time we post a video, you've got a chance. Yeah, every Friday morning, you have a chance to win a free guild project. All you need to do is go to our YouTube channel, make sure you're subscribed, turn on your notifications, then also make sure your device and your YouTube settings, you have your notifications enabled to let them go through. Mm-hmm. People hit that bell and they go, I'm not getting anything. It's because they got it blocked somewhere else in the chain.
Yeah.
So if you have that all set up, when we post a video Friday mornings, go to the video, look at that first pinned comment from me, and there's going to be a link there. You just go in, you fill out your name, your email address, and it closes after the first hour. You have 1 hour to get there, and if you do that, you have a pretty darn good chance, especially early on, because a lot of people still don't know about it. So you will be part of what we call the notification crew. Right. And you got a chance to win a project.
400 or so people that entered today.
Yeah, the number is still very small. Mm-hmm. And we pick 5. We don't even just pick one. We pick 5 people.
And I don't do duplicates. So if you won in the past, you're not going to win.
We don't do doopies. All right. Well, that's it. You guys have a wonderful, weekend. And we will see you the week after next week.
Yes, the week after the next week.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be healed up by then. Okay. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.